All right, Shalom. Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, and Yahushai is the true name of the only begotten Son, who the world calls ignorantly Jesus the Christ. I'd also like to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone that do well, and I would like to say peace and salutations to the Lord's elect, the hopeful elect in 1/3, and Lord's will this lesson will be edifying as well as exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakwadash, and Tawada Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakwadash for giving me the inspiration to do this lesson. And as the title reads, the Alien and Sedition Act will be Jacob's trouble. All right. So on October 11th, you had Nero J. Trump tell an audience at one of his rallies that if elected, there would be in particular law that he would have enacted so that they could handle the current problems that Babylon is facing. Okay. And within that, I'm actually going to read a little bit of this law to you. And when you go into it, you can see how this is prophetically will be Jacob's trouble, because the scriptures tell us of a day that's coming that is not like it. Okay. And a lot of our people don't know what's ahead. Okay. So we're going to go into it. I'm going to hold this right. Actually, I'm going to go into the blue letter. Okay. I'm going to show you something in the blue letter for this word trouble. And I'm also going to read to you this legal law. Okay. This decree. All right. So when this decree is enacted, best believe you will be in full swing of Jacob's trouble. And that's exactly who's going to be in trouble. Jake. Okay. So right here, actually, I'll do this. I actually put this in the search bar, Alien and Sedition Act, and there's quite a bit of information on it. But now it's trending with Donald Trump. Okay. So right here. All right. Now, there's more into this because you have other aliens that are here. You have so-called Chinese aliens, illegal immigrants. You have, just across the board, which a lot of these other nations outside of South American, quote unquote, illegal aliens are military age men that are part of UN countries. And I'll just leave that right there. Okay. So we're getting ready to see a lot of things happen here and what the world knows as America, but in the Bible, it's known as the virgin daughter Babylon the Great. So we're entering a prophetic time. Now I want to go into this. I'm going to jump right into this. Okay. So it says the Alien and Sedition Act. Now the Bible speaks about sedition. Okay. So this is also going to lead to multiple prophecies, including the famine of the word. Look at this. It says the Alien and Sedition Acts were a set of 4 laws enacted in 1798 that applied restrictions to immigration and speech in the United States, right there. Okay. Now, does the Bible speak about a time where we're not going to be, where the word is not going to be, preached anymore? Absolutely. So you can see how the prophecy of Jacob's trouble will lead to a multifaceted fulfillment of prophecies as well. All right. Now let's read this real quick. Jeremiah 30:6. It says, ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins? So Jeremiah is seeing a future event, and he's describing the condition that men are handling this event. Okay. So if a man who is the stronger vessel is now got his hands on his loins as if he's like a woman in travail of childbirth, then that means if the man is in pain and trouble, how much more those on down. It says, as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness, fright, fear, okay? Complete astonishment, all right? Look, alas, for that day is great. So there is a day coming that is going to be very intense. Okay, it's going to be very intense. We are in the beginning of that. See, look, intensity. It's going to be very intense. Okay, all types of emotions will be felt on this prophetic day, and we are reading about laws that want to be enacted that ultimately will lead to this prophecy. Because this prophecy is coming regardless. We are now looking at scenarios that can play out to fulfill this prophecy, just like the MOTB, just like the third war. All right. It says, and so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Now, the world, for the most part, does not acknowledge, may have even heard, okay, and I'll prove that to you, maybe even heard, but the world in a whole will not acknowledge in its entirety that Jacob today, okay, Jacob, whose name was changed into Israel, all right, the true Israelites, the true descendants of Jacob are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and also those scattered abroad according to the diaspora, meaning they will look like other nations as well, but they also take up who you know as Negroes, who you know as Latinos and Native Americans. And now there's an act that's specifically against that nationality or group of people. Okay. So that will be Jacob's trouble, because what's going to happen to the so-called Negroes or Latinos or Native Americans that are legally allowed to live here after they've been raped, robbed, and murdered, enslaved, and conquered, and beaten, trodden down in captivity to this day? What's going to happen to this quote unquote legal citizen slaves that are mixed within illegal immigrants that came over here so-called illegally? Everybody's going to get roped up. You see that? Everybody's going to get roped up. And there's a movie that came out right here. It's called The Siege. Okay, look, The Siege of Jerusalem. But you had a movie, The Siege of New York. Okay, now in this movie, The Siege, there was tea attacks going on by Ishmael. So New York City didn't know how to handle this problem. So what they did was they enacted a law that allowed the military to come in, and anybody suspicious or of that demographic of people, they put in camps. Okay, so they even show you in movies how the Alien Sedition Act would play out, and we're going to go back into that. But we have to start off with a prophetic precept for anybody that's not aware of this prophecy that is being foretold to you, all right, before it happens. Okay, so we're going to hold this, all right, even the time of Jacob's trouble. So now you understand why we started with this, because it's specifically telling you Jacob's in trouble. So we want to say, well, who's Jacob then? Jacob is here. Jacob being here in Babylon, okay, the Latinos, the Native Americans, the so-called Negroes. And like I said before, you have our people scattered abroad in other nations. But who is this act specifically targeting? It's specifically targeting the Israelites. Okay, so I also want to go into this word trouble. We'll finish this off, but I'll hold this here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put trouble. All right, we're going to click on this and we're going to go read into this. All right, so right here, the word trouble means straits, distress, okay, affliction, anguish. All right, an adversary. Who is Jacob's adversary? Let's actually look that up real quick. Let's just put that in and see what the Bible says. Who is Jacob's adversary? Adversary. I might have spelled that wrong. Let's just see. Let me see. Right there. Boom. Right there. Look at this. In the Bible, Jacob's primary adversary is his twin brother Esau. Who is Esau today? The so-called white man and woman, the Caucasians, okay, the Caucasoids, all right? This is who Esau is. Herod, an Idumean, Alex the Great, a Macedonian. These are Edomites. Edomites are here today, okay? If you look up who is Esau today, it will tell you Caucasians, okay? Or it'll say Europeans. You know what? Let me try that for you real quick, because I looked this up before. Who are Edom today? Let's just put today. I found it before. If it doesn't tell me right away, it's fine. But let's see here. Who is the nation of Edom today? Who's descendants of Edom? Okay, so they're not given what we saw But I've also seen it actually mentioned the Europeans are Edom. Let's try that real quick. Just real quick. I don't want to stay too long in this, but I do want to edify. Europeans are the Edomites today. I have a screenshot of it. If it doesn't come up, it's fine. This claim that Europeans are the Edomites today is a belief held by some within certain religious interpretations. See that? So there are interpretations outside of us as Israelites that believe that Esau is Edom. Okay, so we'll leave it there. All right, we know. All right, but just wanted to share that with you real quick so you understand Jacob's adversary. Who's going to be the main antagonist in Jacob's trouble? It will be Esau, and we see a Edomite that is mentioning, okay, an act that will be targeting Jake specifically. That is Jacob's trouble. Okay, so we got a lot to look forward to. There's rumors of Amalek attacking Persia before the election. You got a lot of things going on right now. I was going to share this in another lesson, but you just had a third attempt on Nero's life. Okay, so as long as the public believes it, that's fine. Okay, I was going to do a lesson titled, "It's not what you know, it's what you can prove." So as long as they know that and they prove that, that's all that matters. So let's go back in this. The Alien and Sedition Act were a set of 4 laws enacted in 1798 that applied restrictions to immigration and speech in the United States. Okay, so this act will not only target the immigrants, it'll also target your freedom of speech. Okay, it says the Neutralization Act increased the requirements to seek citizenship. The Alien Friend Act allowed the president to imprison and deport non-citizens. My question is, when this act or an act like this is put in play, how can one identify as a citizen compared to a non-citizen? Now, it immediately came to mind for me, which Trump being the spokesperson, it was called the right here. It's called the Visa Entry Exit Tracking System. Okay, let's look that up. What is that? A visa entry exit tracking system refers to a system used by immigration authorities to record when a person enters and exits a country, primarily used to monitor visa overstays and enforce immigration laws. See this? Often involving the collection of bio, M-O-T-B, M-O-T-B. Okay, how are they going to differentiate a citizen from a non-citizen? Is if they enact something new that now proves that you are, like a passport. See this? So with this act being enacted, this law, it's like a trifecta. It's like multifaceted. It's going to bring in the famine of the word. It's going to bring in a scenario to implement the MOTB, as well as Jacob's trouble, as the cities being distressed. So there's a lot of things that can play out with this one in particular act. Let's continue. Let me see. Okay, it says the Alien Enemies Act gave the president additional powers to detain non-citizens during times of war. See that? You have to look within, you got to read between the lines. Okay. Now it said in a time of war. Well, wait a minute. Revelations 11:4 tells us, Revelations 11:14 tells us, the second war is past, and behold, the third war cometh quickly. The second woe passed 1945. We are in 2024. That's less than 100 years ago. We are seeing that the third woe has already potentially begun. Okay, this is how wars start, and then it leads to world wars. So the third war has been rumored to already begun. Babylon has just not been fully drawn out because of Amalek yet, which that's also prophecy, when the least of the flock, Amalek, who you people know in the world as who you know, when they draw them out, all right, with their conflict with Persia-backed militias, that is going to lead to a global devastation and ultimately the devastation and destruction of Babylon as well as Amalek. So we are seeing these things happen right now. So in the time of war, okay, war gets declared just like World War II when he locked up the Ammonites, okay, the so-called Japanese. He will legally be allowed to lock up so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, okay, who he deems as non-citizens. And then within that, you won't be allowed to talk against them. It says times of war, right? You can be detained in the times of war. Going back to Jacob's trouble, all right, adversity by the adversary being Esau, tribulation. Oh, wait a minute. It said locked up, right? Well, did you know in Revelations, let me get that, Revelations 2, did you know it says that some of us will be put into prisons? Why? Well, potentially because of the Alien and Sedition Act. Why? Okay, so let's get this. Let's hold this right here. And before we read that precept, let's delve further into this Hebrew word for trouble as it has an origin. And when you click on the origin for the word trouble in Jeremiah 30:7, it goes into narrow, tight, straits, distress, adversary, oppressor. Now there's a little more. Let's go. Let's click further. Okay, you click further. Look, to bind up, tie up, be cramped, in straits, tied up. There you go, locked up. Okay, so a part of Jacob's trouble Jacob will be locked up. And according to the Alien Sedition Act, you can be locked up or i.e. detained to figure out if you're a citizen or not. You see that? So let's keep going. Now the prophecy says, Revelations 2:10, all right? It says, fear none of the things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, the adversary, the Edomites shall cast some of you into prison because they enacted it in law, because they want to identify as you as a threat or non-threat, that ye may be tried, being idled, offered with things unto idols. You're going to have to receive this mark now. If you are a citizen, we need to track you now, okay? And ye shall have tribulation 10 days. There's going to be a certain period of time. Be thou faithful unto death. You can even be put to death for the penalty of TRESE. You know, I can't even spell the words because AI will pick it up. All right, but look it up. Look up some of the penalties of death when it comes to betraying Babylon. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So we can see this in particular act. We can actually see prophecies that go or coincide or are parallel with this same act. Okay, so let's keep going. There's a lot more. It says times of war, and the Sedition Act criminalized false and malicious statements about the federal government. Wait a minute, but does the Bible say that men would be speaking in a seditious manner? Yes. Let's get that. Let's go to 2 Ezra 15, okay, and show you that the Bible tells us that you will have portions of people talking against other portions of people, okay, right here. What does that say? See that? And then you have an act for this same statement. This is prophecy, brothers. What we are reading is prophecy in real time. That's another title for it. We are reading prophecy in real time. All right. And there ain't a book, chapter, or verse in the Bible that we're reading it from. We're reading it from the horse's mouth. But we have the Bible to back up to show you its prophecy. It says, look at this. Verse 14, 2 Ezra 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another. Yeah, because this act be enacted, how many people that are of Babylon that potentially could be mistaken for not being of Babylon are going to fight back because they're trying to lock them in as if they ain't Babylonians. Now, I just watched this video, and this is what inspired me to look up the act, because there's a video. It's titled Walking While Black, which he's not black. He's a derivative of brown, but this is the byword that we're called as under curses. Walking while black, man gets harassed by a group of white people, so-called white. They're not white. The hat's white. He's brown. He's a shade of red. See that? But this is the image. This is a part of the image that we have to deal with in Babylon, is a very base, low-level mindset that the people have been given because they're drunk with the wine of Babylon. So look, what do you think when if this law gets enacted, what do you think people around Babylon are going to do to Jake? How do they know I'm not an illegal immigrant? Or how do I know they won't use that as an excuse? Okay. Remember World War II and the Zoot Suits riots? Those were race riots. Okay. During World War II, we're going to get it. You had scarcity, lack of bread, ration points, race wars, and camps. Okay. That was during World War II. So what you think is going to happen in World War III? It says, gets harassed by a group of men who didn't think he lived in the neighborhood, or it says, or didn't think he lived in the country. Remember the movie Civil War that came out? It came and went. What kind of American are you? There it is. There it is. See? What kind of American are you? Also known as what kind of a Babylonian are you? Is a World War I era song. Wow. So we didn't even know this quote from this movie titled Civil War, which is the beginning scene. One of the main actresses wore a shirt that was titled Road to the Black Horse, which is Revelation 6, the 6th chapter, speaking on ultimately hyperinflation. So there's a lot coming down the pipe. Okay. But in this movie, he's asking Asian citizen, okay, a South American citizen, what kind of American are you? Just like this. Are you from Haiti? Huh? Where you from? See? So you can see how even the public is going to react to this act being enacted. This will be Jacob's trouble because this act is specifically targeting Jake. You brothers too. You've been in this captivity for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and you're going to have some heathens looking at you up and down like you ain't supposed to be here. You know what? We're waiting to leave. But let's continue. Let's stick at the task at hand. Okay. So it says, let me read this. Look, it says the Alien Enemies Act is still in effect. See? So it's still in effect right now. Now let's go down. Okay. I'm going to go down. The Alien and Sedition Act were controversial, but ultimately it's prophecy. Here's a little bit of people speaking, blah, blah, blah. I really don't want to care about that too much. So now what we want to do, let's go down. Okay, here's the Alien Act. All right, I don't want that right now. I want to get right to the meat for you. All right, look, I'll read this though. It says, once a non-citizen was determined to be dangerous and was suspected of conspiring against the government, the president, the king, had the power to set a reasonable amount of time for departure, and remaining after the time limit could result to I'm thinking of precepts. The time limit could result to up to 3 years in prison. See? So what's that say? Well, let me make sure I got my precepts together. Let's go to Psalms 64. He's going to target us, man. This is why it's called Jacob's trouble. That's the title. This is why it's called Jacob's trouble. Psalm 64. Let's go to the NLT. Let's read this. So I'm excited. You know, this is prophecy. Psalm 63 and 3. It said, hold up. Let's start at 1. It says, oh, Yahweh, listen to my complaint. Protect my life from the enemy's threat. What are you doing here? Now imagine this military. Okay. This is just civilian. Now imagine that military. All right. It says, hide me from the plots of this evil mob. Okay. From this gang of wrongdoers. You mean to tell me you ain't going to have the Proud Boys, good old boys, you don't mean to tell me you're going to have Edomites out here? Matter of fact, I'm going to refresh your memory if you didn't know. Zoot Suit. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you that during this riot, you had Esau banding together with sailors and police. Why were everyday citizens joining with them? Let me go and do it. Let me show you. This was during World War II. Look, 1943 is when Babylon entered World War II. Let's prove that. When did U.S. join? When did U.S. join World War II? What year? Okay, 41. Excuse me. I was going to say 4. So 41, but it didn't end until 45. Excuse me. I was mistaken. They entered 41, and then 2 years later, 1943, as so-called scarcity was setting in, they waged race riots on their own citizens because the lack of material. And who did they target specifically? Jake, Northern Kingdom. And who entered that? Police, sailors, and also citizens. Okay, look. American servicemen and Edomites attacked and stripped children, teenagers, and youth who wore zoot suits. They attacked children, teenagers, and youth. See that? So, it says slay utterly old and young, maids, both young women and children. You see that? And look, it happened in Alabama, Texas, Detroit, New York City. So this was skirmishes all over. See that? And they attacked the northern and the southern, young adults and children. You see that? This was during World War II. Okay? Look, while most of the white mobs targeted, wait a minute, mob right there. Hide me from the plot of this evil mob and from this gang of wrongdoers. So if they enact this, you're going to have the general Edomite public that are going to join hands with their National Guard, with their military, with their state and federal police agencies, all against Jake. This is an act to point specifically out Jake. Now, let's keep going. I just wanted to share that with you. Okay, so now it says, what else we got? Okay, then the Sedition Act, we need that. So now let's go down right here. It says the Alien Enemies Act, officially an act respecting alien enemies, was passed. Well, aren't we aliens to our Commonwealth? Well, now we know spiritually, but we're waiting to leave. We're not even from here. All right. It says was passed to supplement the Alien Friends Act, granting the powers that be. Okay, the powers that be. All right, we already read that. Let's go to Romans now. Let's break everything down. Okay, Romans 13. It says, "Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Yahweh. The powers that be are ordained of Yahweh." So ultimately, at the end of the day, when Jacob's trouble commences in full swing, even though we're in the beginning of sorrows, we understand that this insurrection, this attack against us, we can pray to Yahweh Bashim Shai for protection. But we also understand it's prophesied that there is a Jacob's trouble. It's prophesied that 2/3 in Babylon will be destroyed. So this is necessary prophecy, but there's also a prophecy within that of protection and deliverance through this destruction. Hence why we're still holding Jeremiah 30, because there's a last little bit of that prophecy that we have to read. Okay? Look, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of Yahweh, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. This is why right now we abide by the laws. You know, we stop at stop signs. We understand that we're in captivity. But now, as we're entering the last days, the powers that be are now switching their power to a more dragon-like power. And in this time, they are going to enact certain laws and force certain things that we cannot agree to, because we are told the penalty what would happen if we receive or accept the certain requirements, i.e. the mark, entry, exit, tracking system, things of that nature. So we're definitely living in different times. Look, for rulers are not a terror to good works. If the Lord will make a man's enemies be at peace with him if he please the Lord, but to the evil. So when this goes down, there is going to be a lot of judgment on so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and as well as other Babylonian citizens, but that's for judgment's sake. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. See? So we're doing good now. So when this judgment goes down, the Lord will have mercy on us. Okay? The Lord will have mercy on us. And I'm going to read that, but let's continue. Okay, let's continue. Right here. It says, the powers that be, additional powers to regulate non-citizens that would take effect in times of war. See that? Now let's just look this up real quick. Let's look up how many illegal border crossings per day. Let's see, about 8,000 per day. Let's put border crossing since Yeah, let's do since 2019. The U.S. has reported nearly 11 million unauthorized border encounters, but I've also heard 20 to 30 million. So either way, you are in the millions. There are millions of people in Babylon illegally. So what would it take for them to track, trace, and encase 11 million of them? What would that take? That would take what you would know as Jacob's trouble. Go watch the movie The Siege, okay? Go watch that movie, because what they're getting ready to do is going to change everyday life. You're talking checkpoints. Wait a minute, did I just say checkpoints? Oh, I didn't even finish that. You're talking checkpoints, okay? Now let's get Second Ezra 16 real quick. We're going to finish that one because I didn't finish that. Let's go here. A lot of precepts, you see, but it's building the picture. Second Ezra 16, and just give me a second. Right here. It says, where is it? Oh, is it in the same chapter? Excuse me. I believe I'm in the same chapter. Yep, right here. Second Ezra 16 and 17. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Why? Because there's 11 million illegal immigrants that we need to track and trace and detain. And we are making checkpoints in and out of cities. We are going to lock down sanctuary cities, meaning if you are a sanctuary city, we're going to lock you in so we can contain that. Then we're going to go through with a fine-tooth comb and go through every citizen of this descent, this geography or nationality, and we're going to question them, detain them till we can prove that they are of this country. And now we're going to also enact this in particular law, which now will be a tracking system so that we can keep track of everybody coming in and coming out. MOTB, Jacob's trouble, famine of the word, all rolled in one. Let's continue and keep that in mind in a time of war. So Nero spoke of an act that would take effect in times of war, which is what? The third woe. It says, under this law, under this decree, the king could authorize the arrest, relocation, and deportation of any male. Wait a minute, what about the female? See, this is why we tell you, sisters, y'all Israelite women are not in captivity and under curses as much as the Israelite man. Even though in a whole, as a nation of people, we are under curses, but the Israelite man is enemy numero one. Oop, I shouldn't say numero, I mean number. Got to be careful what language I speak. I might be identified. See that? So that's another thing. What language do you speak? You can't speak proper English. See? So they're about to come, they're going to crack down. And this proves we're in Egypt again. It said, take all the males. What's up with that? Why not also females? See that? The Israelite man is the most captive creature on planet Earth. What I say, Exodus 1, just like are we not in a time of, are we not in Egypt again? This is Exodus 1 and Exodus 1 and 22. And the Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every male, every son, every Israelite male that is born, ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. So you women, okay, are going to be put to the side, but every Israelite male in Babylon potentially can be detained, okay? Every Israelite male potentially could be detained to determine if they are of here and of not. See that? And it says relocation. That's also a part of the image too. Did you know that? Let me get that. Revelations 13. Check this out. Remember it says that they could kill? Revelations 13 and 15. And he had power. Wait a minute. Power. We're reading the same thing right here. And the government granting power. He had power. See that? Right there. And he, Edom, dragon, had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Now the image of the beast is going to add a new requirement of that image, and that image will also pertain to the mark. Now let's go into this word killed, because that means literally, right? Yes, literally. But he can also kill you from society. Let's show you. So the word kill means, look, kill, right? I get that. Death row, things of that nature, kill. But when you go into the etymology for this word kill or to slay, you click on it, and guess what it goes into? Look, of separation, relocate, of local separation. See? So he can take you, he can physically distance you from a place. He can relocate you. All right. That's what this is telling you. I can relocate you or separate you from society. See? Or the portion of any male over the age of 14. See that? Proven we become men by the age of 12. It says, who hailed from a foreign enemy country. Now, what's that going into? Now you got other people that are here that are from China. Let's look that up. How many illegal immigrants from China? Let's see. That's all I put in. Of course, there isn't much information on it. Why? Because a lot of them are part of the UN, my personal opinion. But how do you not have information on these when there's countless videos? Look at this. Here we go. As of April 18th, 2024, 24,000 nationals have been encountered at the southwest border. 24,000, 30,000 Moabites. So what's going to happen when the third war breaks out and it's with China? It's with Moab. Well, you got 30,000 of them. What's going to happen if they're part of the UN? See? Let's see what else we got. Let's just see Iran. Let's see. Oh, another there isn't. Huh? Isn't that funny? Look, but then we find out there's about 7,000. See that? So there are double-digit numbers of enemies that Babylon prophetically will be at war with soon come. So what's going to happen to those citizens from these countries that you're at war with that identify as an enemy? So this thing's going to blow up, man. It says it also provided some blah, blah, blah. We ain't going to go into that. Now, let's go further down. See right here. Here's the history. On December 7th, 1941, in response to Pearl Harbor, the president at the time used the authority of the revised Alien Enemies Act. And who did he lock up? Ammonites. So this shows you that Jacob's trouble is going to lead to everybody's trouble. So what's going to happen? Look, these people, they weren't just Jake's. These are other nations that he was going to woe with. See? So he's going to use this to lock Babylon down. Could this potentially lead to the 10 FEMA regions? We'll find out. We'll find out. But even in history, you've seen this act being acted before, okay? Because he deemed these citizens dangerous to the public's peace and safety of Babylon. So if Babylon could get attacked, Babylon could be, something could happen, then he can point the finger and say, every Persian, every Moabite, every Ammonite, every African, every Latino, he can point the finger at anybody or any demographic he wants and legally detain you. See that? Now, let's go further. All right. And what's that's going to lead to? Well, I'll go back to this prophecy. That's going to lead to what? Verse 15, 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. And one people shall stand up to fight against another and swords in their hand. There's going to be a uproar. Okay. Look, and there shall be sedition among men. So you already have, there are going to be men talking about invading one another. Okay. They're going to be speaking on this. That's what that sedition means. All right. Let's go into this. Let's put the definition so we can get it. What is sedition? What is sedition? What does it mean? The act of inciting people to rebel. See? So you're going to have people standing up and they're going to be the face or the voice for in particular nationalities of people. Makes me think of, what was that agent years ago? Grand Flash, whatever, that agent. Okay. So you're going to have people that are going to be used or paid and bought for to stand up and so-called be speaking for you. And they're going to be speaking out in a manner of aggression. Okay. So get ready to start seeing people speak out openly against the government, which will lead to the Sedition Act. And I'm going to read that for you as well. Because then after sedition, what's going to happen? They are going to invade one another. They shall not regard their kings and nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So it's going to be power against power. So this act can also lead to the prophecy of Isaiah 19, Egyptian versus Egyptian. Look at this. Look at this. Now, we got that. Okay, so now let's go back into this. And now let's go down to the Sedition Act. Okay, there it is. So now look, the Sedition Act. See that? It says the Federalist Controlled Congress passed the Sedition Act by a vote of 44 to 41. The Sedition Act made it illegal to make false or malicious statements about the federal powers that be. There you go. Now, guess what? How many videos have we done where they misinformation? Let me get the prophecy. Okay, let's go to the standard. Let's go to Amos. Is that not speaking about famine of the word? Let's just put that in. Let's see if there's any. Look at that. Then we just say Amos. Behold, the days come, meaning it hasn't happened yet. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land. Now remember, Esau's the Lord's sword. So if you have a cord of the word being connected to the general public, who's going to cut or separate that cord of information? Esau. Remember the scene in Forrest Gump when he was speaking and then the guy cut off all the cord? That's what's going to happen. Let me put this in real quick. Forrest, just being funny. Forrest Gump cut off mid-speech. Right there. We're going to be cut off mid-speech. Okay? In the movie Forrest Gump is famously cut off mid-speech. Lesson cut off. Live cut off. Camp shut down. Nope, you got to go. You got to get out of here. Military telling us to leave. While attempting to speak. See this? It says his microphone was deliberately unplugged. We're going to be deliberately unplugged. They're going to deliberately unplug us. See? Look at that. Get them. But this is prophecy. We can't get mad. You think Noah was mad that the ark was finally built and he was inside of it when the rain came? Hell no. No, you're not going to be able to stop this. Okay? You're not going to be able to stop this. This is all prophecy, brothers. Let's go back. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, but will there be famines of bread or scarcity or lack thereof? Absolutely. Nor a thirst of water. But wasn't there just a cyber attack on Babylon's main water source? Yes, there was. But of hearing the words of the Lord. So there's a famine of the word coming, meaning there's a time coming where it will be illegal for you to speak with the scriptures pertaining to prophecy or prophesizing against the powers that be and the judgment that's coming for them, because they will deem it misinformation or false. That's false. Nope, that breakdown's false. That's wrong. Just like they do to us today. Nope, that's wrong. That's not it. Okay. But this is all what's coming down. Okay. It says the act was used to suppress speech critical of the Adams administration, including the prosecution and conviction of many newspaper owners who disagreed with their blah, blah, blah. The Sedition Act did not extend enforcement to speech about the vice president, as then incumbent Thomas Jefferson was a blah, 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 blah. Okay, so you get the point here. Okay, so they got a Sedition Act. They also got a Alien Removal Act. Okay, so this is Jacob's trouble. All right, now let's go back. But Jake will be in trouble, tied up. Okay, but now let's go back to this word. But ultimately, in the end, because we got to go back to Psalm 64. Ultimately, at the end, he shall be saved out of it. So even though all this is coming, even though we'll be surrounded, even though they will have quote unquote legal laws that they will enact to do what they're planning to do, we will be delivered out of all of this trouble. Okay, we have to understand that. Psalm 64:2. Hide me from the plots of this evil mob, from this gang of evildoers. They sharpen their tongues like swords and aim their bitter words like arrows, meaning they're going to specifically speak and target us. Okay, did they not do that with the 19? During the 19, did they not specifically say African, American, Latino, Native, and Native American? Let me see what pops up. I'm going to show you. Because during the 19, this popped up. Let me do this. I'm gonna do something risky. Let me just put it like this. I'm going to do something risky. Let's see what pops up. Boom. There you go. All right. There you go. Black, Latino, Native American. So they already targeting us. Let's jump back before they get me. Okay. You seen that? So they already have a plan specifically against us. They've already gathered and grouped us together. All right. Because we are actually immigrants to Babylon, you know. Now, Gad was here, but Gad ain't from here, you know. The northern kingdoms from south, but they not from there. They traveled there. Second Ezra, the 13th chapter tells us that. Hide me from the plot of this evil mob, from this gang of wrongdoers. They sharpen their tongue like swords and aim their bitter words like arrows. They shoot from ambush at the innocent. See? Attacking suddenly and fiercely. That's what this act is going to do. Okay? This is what this act is going to do. You see? So this will be prophecy. And do we hope this come to pass? Absolutely. But ultimately, prophecy will come to pass. Ultimately, prophecy. But reading this is showing us how prophecy can come to pass. And then you got this video of a Jake being harassed by average, everyday peon public people that are just drunk off the juice. They're going to jump in and get busy too on Jake. And then that's going to lead to what? Jake being a terror amongst Egypt, a young lion amongst the sheep. So Jake's going to have to fight back, which is going to lead to what? A racial woe. All right. So everything is lining up. As they say, the stars are aligning. Oh, we're seeing it. Okay. We're seeing it. So we got that. Let's go back. Psalms. It says they encourage each other to do an evil and plan how to set their traps in secret. Who will ever notice, they ask. We notice. As they plot their crimes, they say, we have devised the perfect plan. See, this is all part of the plan of the elites. All right. Yes, the human heart and mind are cunning, but Yahweh himself will shoot them with his arrows, suddenly striking them down. There you go. Ultimately, they will be destroyed in the third woe. The elect will be protected and preserved in the midst of Jacob's trouble. This place is on its way out. So I just wanted to touch on that quick topic. Didn't mean to make it this long, but there was a lot of information. So just continue to watch. Keep your eye on the political aspect of Babylon. See what laws they're bringing into play. And ultimately, the left hand of Edom, all right, is going to make its move. But ultimately, it will fulfill prophecy for the right hand and their deliverance. Okay. So with that being said, I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting. And I just want to say, call halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. Peace and salutations to the Lord's elect. With that being said, Shalom.